project is now going to hit a little turning point. A turning point from doing constant fabrication all the time into doing the cycle parts and bits and pieces that are to come. I've got to change the discs, get the wheels stripped so I can repaint them. It's got to change the sprockets, come in, all new brakes, bushes, bearings, all sorts of things, and rear suspension leg, whole swing arm's got to come out to be repainted or powder coated. So honestly, there's loads to do now that's a lot more interesting than faffing around bodywork. But I've got to say, before we go any further, thank you so much for your well-mannered honesty in all of the kind comments you made about this. Some of you loved the console and you thought it was really different, and others said it looks way better now and it was always wrong. So it did divide opinions, but as my good friend said on another channel, he said recently, you know, I'm building my bike, I can't please everyone. I would like to, we would all like to, that's what we crave, isn't it? But you can't. So ultimately all I can do is please myself, and I love that. And I know a great many of you, definitely a majority, love this new look as well. I will definitely be putting something on the front here to house a little speedo. Along the lines of how a VMAX has its boost gauge, or a GPZ 750 Turbo has its boost gauge, they always had them here on top of the tank. I will have a little something, but all this going on with that hole around the filler cap, it just weren't working, brother, so that's had to go. And now I will put something on here to bring it up to the lines of this, but not nearly as radical as it was, much more in keeping. Also, a great many of you said in agreement with me that the tail, now that this is smaller, it won't always be, but now this is smaller, it brings the tail slightly out of proportion. And you are absolutely right. The tail now looks bigger because it is bigger in relation to the tank. So yes, I may revisit the tail. I don't really want to rip it off and do something else, but there's a little part of me, very little part of me says, just rip it off and do something else. So who knows? But before I get involved in that, and this thing just runs on forever and ever, I want to do the bike itself. So today begins a little process. It's a little bit of an in and out. I've got to get the wheels out to go and get them stripped. Get all that old paint. There's about 8 layers of paint. It's chipped and then been painted over. Then that's chipped and that's been painted over again without rubbing down. The wheels are in a mess. So I don't like the gold anyway. They're going to go satin black. So that's the next job, is to get those wheels media blasted and get all that stuff off back to bare metal. Before I can do that, though, I've got to get the discs off, get the tyres off, which also means getting the wheels out. Getting the wheels out means a little bit forward thinking. I'm also going to do a chain of sprockets. So the first thing today, get it jacked up and get the front sprocket nut cracked. Now you know how difficult it can be sometimes to crack that front sprocket nut. You need the chain in place to hold it still. Without the chain in place, it's an absolute nightmare. And then get the wheels out, then I'm going to get in the car, get down and get the tyres ripped off, and get them down to the blasters today. Now if I'm lucky, if I'm really lucky, I'll be able to pick the wheels up fully blasted tonight. The metal blasting guy said, oh, that'll be 2 days, 3 days, but I kind of sweet talked him and begged him, and he said he might have them ready for the end of today. So fingers crossed, let's hope he does, and perhaps he has a shorter lunch break and he will get them done today. But he won't get them done unless I get them down there, so let's get stuck in after a brew. Okay, got the wheel free of all its furniture and calipers, and watch. I can detect, you can't see it, but you can feel it, just a tiny, tiny little bit of movement there. And it's not side to side because I've backed the axle off, it is genuinely in the bearings. And when you roll it, you can hear them rumbling. That noise isn't good. So there we are. It's a good job of replacing the bearings anyway. They will be replaced because the wheel's going to be blasted. If you get any wheels media blasted whatsoever, you have to replace the bearings no matter what. It is not negotiable. One piece of blasting grit in that bearing will just execute it within weeks. It will just tear it to pieces. So why risk it? The bearings don't cost much, but leave the old bearings in place before you get them blasted, because the inside of the bearing cup that the bearing sits in is a nice smooth surface, and when they're blasting the wheels, if they get all the blasting media in there, then where the bearing sits itself will all be rough on the inside, and that isn't good. So leave the old bearings in to protect the cups, and then they're toast later on. But there we are, rumbling bearings. Good job I was replacing them anyway. Right, let's get the wheel out. There we are. Little thing I've always said, no matter what, put your bearing spacers, your wheel axle spacers back in place, orientated the way they were and in the order they go in every time, like that. Then when you come to put the wheel back in later on, they're all in the right order, orientated the right way, and you don't have to email people online and look it up in YouTube videos. There we are, just a little trick, a little bit of preparation. Proper preparation prevents blah blah blah. Right, just taking this out because I don't want it getting blasted with all the media stuff again, and that's for the speedo drive. So I'll just preserve that, put it back on the axle. There we are. Here we are. Everything in order and correctly orientated for reassembly in the future. No dramas. In the past I might have used this chain, I might have just soaked it and maybe got some life out of it, because it isn't worn, but it has been sat well in here for 2 years, and goodness knows how old it actually is. And the sign that this chain is absolutely knackered is that. You can get in close on there, Pen? Mm-hmm. That there is a frozen link. You see the angle that it's at? Now that just won't move at all. It's rusted solid. Now it possibly does move under load, it might move a bit, but that means that there's resistance in the way that that link moves. That's then going to get super hot and snap. So don't even go there. If you've got a frozen link in a chain. Alright, some of you have written to me in the past and said, is it savable? Can I work it back and forth with lots of lubricant? Well, yes you can, but it's your ass. So you can take a chance if you want. You can buy a new chain from as little as maybe 50, 60 pounds for a basic chain, or you know, it's your choice. It is your choice. There is no cheap way to everything. Sometimes a frozen link in a chain, I really, truly, honestly would never use it again. And it's only going to have happened if you've left it for a long time, sat and sat and sat, and it seizes up. It doesn't happen automatically. It doesn't happen overnight. A frozen link is from layup for a long period where it hasn't been lubricated. There's been water inside there that has corroded, festered, and seized. So this chain is toast. And in the past, I've done the thing with the chain splitter and the riveter that push the link out, but there is a slightly quicker way when you know the chain is going in the bin. Get the grinder out.
Save time.
Save time. Mind your ears, Pen?
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Now this I'm going to keep because in the coming future I feel some projects coming on with making some cool stuff using old bike chain, and as you can see by looking at it, although it's got frozen links, it is actually quite good condition in terms of rust, so that will be saved rather than just going straight in the bin. It won't be used on a motorcycle again, but it will be used for
I've got an idea for that.
Go on.
No, I'm not going to say.
Not going to say. Right, well stay tuned for her idea for that sometime in the future. go. Going to put new cush drive rubbers in these as well. I've got a set of those. Kawasaki's are renowned for that. They're probably the weakest cush drives, especially in the old ZZR 1100s. These are not expensive. I've got a set ready to go in. So that's got to be blasted as well. So it was white originally, so it originally had white wheels. It was a red bike as well, so this isn't possibly isn't even the original wheel, but who cares? There we go. And again, going to leave the old seal and the old bearing in place so the guy can blast that. No worries about what happens to it. Just protect the threads, and I'll put a bolt on them to protect them, or a nut over those to protect them. And then when I come to do it in the future, just put new bearings straight in. Alright, there we are. I just want to show you why these really need to be blasted off. Here we are. Check out there. There's actually a big run there where the paint's going like a big blob. It's hard. Now I don't know what on earth has happened to these rims. They were originally white. I can see that from the few places that they're chipped here. And I don't think that red bike, which is what it was, had white wheels. Might have done, can't be sure. Maybe one of you guys can tell me, but there we are. These have got to be stripped off because all the stuff that's on them is over the top of the chips. If you have a look in here, they're all chipped and scratched. All these little chips and pits are underneath this gold paint. So goodness knows why someone has painted so much thick paint. There's big runs and hangs in it there. Goodness knows why they've done that over so much damage. Why wouldn't you sand them down first or prepare them and get rid of all those chips? I don't know. So I'm going to have them blasted, get everything off so I can tell whether they're good. And what I mean by that is when I look on this side, especially on the rear wheel, here, there's no dents in the rim, but there's lots of these chips. All around, these chips are really bad and nasty dents there. Now they look like they could possibly be just in whatever this thick coating is, because this coating is so thick that I don't know what the damage on the rim is underneath. So that's why this has got to be torn off. Got to get all that off with the proper media blasting so I can see if the rims are sound underneath. If they are, then that's great. I'll paint them, put them back on. If not, then I'm on eBay sourcing a couple of new rims, or at least one, because that is horrible. So wish me luck. Let's get them tyres off first and then deliver them to the blasters this afternoon. Wish me luck.
Yeah.
Right, let's get them in the car. that result. They were, in the end, grit blasted with a metal grit, super fine metal grit, and that got all the hard powder coat off. They were white powder coated, that's all gone now. Nothing on there whatsoever. And thankfully, pleased to say, they are flawless in every way. There's not a single nick or a mark or anything on them, not a chew mark from a tyre lever, nothing at all. Really pleased with that, because they did look a bit knobbly in places, but it was just the surface stuff that was all over them. And now that's all gone, absolutely flawless. Really happy with that, absolutely made up. All I have to do now is paint those, and that's it. These obviously, even the anodizing on these nuts, I put these on to protect the threads there, and even the anodizing in there is gone. That media is amazing, and obviously it's all in these old bearings, so they've all got to come out. Lots to do on these. Before I do anything else, I want to get some paint on them first of all, because there's no point in replacing the bearings then painting them. I'll replace the bearings last once the paint's on and the tyres are on, everything else before I put them back in the bike. So there we are. I think that's everything for now. Join us in the next one with some paint on. Thanks for watching.